Hello, my lovely wishes. It's Holly. Welcome to Dandelion Stitches, where we are random. And we are happy to be random. If you're new, Dandelion Stitches started out as a quilting, sewing sort of channel, and then I started opening boxes and telling stories. And so today is going to be a story day because I feel like we haven't had a story in a little while. I'm going to run out of stories pretty soon because my life has not been that exciting. But we've told some about up north with Inga, a couple of Inga stories, and today is going to be mostly my kids when they were younger. I was the kind of mom that wanted to have all the neighborhood kids come here because that way I could keep an eye on them, and I was a stay-at-home mom, and not every mom was. Occasionally there were babysitters and grandparents, and I would definitely bribe them with Kool-Aid and cookies and snacks and have them here. And I wasn't always like with them once they got to be a certain age. As long as I knew they were in the yard and I could kind of keep an eye out every now and then, I was good with that. And we frequently had, I don't know, 6-8 kids floating around the yard and we have a lot of yard. And so there was, baseball games, and then we had a tree house that kind of hung over the creek, and so that was a big deal. And it was a good place for kids to grow up on, being outside and learning to love nature. So one particular summer, I think my kids were, I don't know, maybe Kaisa was 7 and Carl was 10. I had gone in the house. They were all in the front yard in the garage kind of area. We had a boat, and they loved to be in the boat, like pretending, they were driving the boat. And pretty soon the door flies open and one of the neighbor kids runs in and says, "You need to come right now." So, okay. So I hustle out quickly, and it's funny, it's not funny. I mean, it's one of those, like, you're like horrified, but you don't know. Kaisa is standing with a stick, and it's a pretty good sized stick, sticking into the back of her head. And there is blood running down her back. And after some interrogation, I discovered that it was her brother who threw the stick. Didn't mean to be throwing it at his sister, which doesn't really make it any better. I mean, he was still throwing the stick, but okay. So, yeah. What do we do now? So I run in the house, and this was back when you could actually get a hold of your doctor. You could call and talk to a nurse or a doctor like right away. And so I called the office and said who I was. They got me on the line with the doctor right away. I said, "Here's what happened." She said, "Bring her in immediately. Don't take the stick out. Just, if you can, like, wrap it up and secure it to her head. But don't take it out." Okay. So I send all the kids back off to where because now we've drawn a crowd, because now it's like, there's Kaisa. And she was very calm through the whole thing. She was a little undone by the blood running down her back, but she was very calm. Carl, on the other hand, did not do blood so very well, especially not when he had inflicted the blood, but anyway. So at this point we are driving yet another stellar station wagon because my life has been just full of them. And this one is a giant burgundy red woody station wagon where the driver's side door only opens from the outside. So you can get in just fine, but getting out, not so much. So I got her on the back seat, laying down. I had tied the stick with some gauze, and she made me feel like a Civil War, like patient after being shot in the head or what. I mean, because I wrapped it all around, and Carl's sitting next to her, and his job is to just keep her head still. So it's probably 15 minutes to the doctor's office, but we go as fast as the giant station wagon would take us. And we get there, we get a parking place, and I have to go slide across the bench to get out of the right-hand side door so that I can go around and get the kids out the stuff you do when you're young. I mean, anyway. So I get her out, and we're doing okay. We're walking up to the door to get in there, and we get about to the elevator, and Carl says, "I don't feel good." And I'm like, okay, not feel good, puke, not feel good, let's define not feel good. At which point he just faints. Good, Carl, thanks. So I heft him up under one arm while Kaisa's still doing good. She's, oh my goodness, what's wrong with Carl? What's happening? We get on the elevator, we go up, we get to the door, and I can't let go of him. And somebody's got to open the doorknob, and I'm like holding the back of her head to try to keep the thing where it needs to be. So she opens the door, and we go in, and the waiting room is full, is packed with people, and it becomes deathly silent because I have one child who is unconscious and another one who looks like she's been through the war and has a stick this long sticking out of the back of her head. So the nurse runs in, gets us back to the office, and gets some smelling salts under Carl's nose and gets him back again, and she put him in a whole other room with a book, and kept him out of the way, got him something to drink, and because at the point we're triaging, and he seemed to be the most important because she wasn't bleeding anymore. Poor Kaisa had, I don't know if she still does as an adult, but she had lidocaine and Novocaine did not work well on her. So to give stitches, they had a hard time getting the right combination of whatever it took for the pain not to be there for them to be able to give her stitches. So at that point, she's not pleased. Luckily, once we get everything off of her and we get the stick out, and the doctor's looking, and she said, it's really not, it's pretty superficial. How it stuck in there so well, we're not really sure, but she did some digging around, and by this time, Kaisa's becoming a little hysterical, and, we're still not hearing any noise from the waiting room at all. I think I have stunned them to complete silence. They all want to know what's going on. So luckily we got her cleaned up, and she got about 5 stitches and, lots of suckers, and she was okay. And we did make it back to the car in one piece. Carl could walk, and it was better. But when you are young and you have children, the stuff that you cobble together with duct tape and prayers that was quite a day. If I had ever been a drinking person, that would have been a good time for a drink. So that is the story of Carl and Kaisa and the stick that wasn't meant for her, but it ended up in her head. So be well, be safe, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.